This is not science fiction. This is Earth. Creatures so strange. They look engineered by another world. Animals with transparent skulls. Beating hearts you can see from the outside. Bodies that don't look real. And this is only the beginning. 50 real animals. No CGI. No myth. No exaggeration. You won't believe they exist until you see them. Alien animals. Real.
Hey there, explorers! Welcome to Wildlife Decode Stories.
Dobintonia madagascariensis. The a ghost-like primate that taps wood with its skeletal finger, detecting hidden larvae before extracting them with eerie surgical precision. Leafy sea dragon. Phycodurasicus. The leafy sea dragon. A drifting ocean phantom whose elaborate leaf-like appendages disguise it perfectly among seaweed as currents carry it silently through shallow waters. Glass frog. Centralenidae. The glass frog. A translucent amphibian whose beating heart and glowing organs remain visible through its skin as it clings motionless beneath rainforest leaves. Shoebill. Balaniceps rex. The shoebill. A towering prehistoric bird with an enormous clog-shaped beak capable of crushing lungfish with bone-shattering force in a single lightning strike. Star-nosed mole. Condylura cristata. The star-nosed mole. A subterranean hunter whose 22 pink tentacles detect microscopic vibrations, allowing it to identify and consume prey in less than a quarter second. Peacock mantis shrimp. Odontodactylus ciliaris. The mantis shrimp. A living weapon whose spring-loaded claws strike with bullet-like speed, generating shockwaves powerful enough to crack aquarium glass. Axolotl. Ambystoma mexicanum. The axolotl. An eternal juvenile amphibian capable of regenerating entire limbs, spinal cord, and even parts of its brain without leaving scars. Tarsia. Tarsius. The tarsia. A tiny nocturnal primate with enormous eyes fixed in place, forcing it to rotate its head nearly completely around to track movement in darkness. Goblin shark. Mitsucarina ostoni. The goblin shark. A deep-sea predator whose extendable jaws shoot forward like a spring-loaded trap, snatching prey in the darkness of ancient oceans. Okapi. Okapia johnstoni. The okapi. A forest-dwelling relative of giraffes whose zebra-striped legs and velvet face make it appear assembled from entirely different animals. Blue dragon sea slug. Glaucus atlanticus. The blue dragon. A floating ocean predator that feeds on venomous jellyfish and stores their stinging cells for its own powerful defense. Gharial. Gavialis gangeticus. The gharial. A river crocodilian with an impossibly thin snout packed with needle teeth perfectly evolved for catching slippery fish with precise sideways snaps. Proboscis monkey. Nasalis larvatus. The proboscis monkey. A bizarre primate whose enormous pendulous nose amplifies mating calls that echo through mangrove forests at dusk. Barreleye fish. Macropina microstoma. The barreleye fish. A deep-sea enigma with a transparent head revealing glowing green eyes that rotate upward to track silhouettes drifting above. Pink fairy armadillo. Chlamyphorus truncatus. The pink fairy armadillo. A tiny armored burrower whose pale shell and shovel-like claws allow it to swim through desert sand like a living submarine. Frilled lizard. Chlamydosaurus kingii. The frilled lizard. A reptilian illusionist that suddenly expands a massive neck frill and sprints upright on hind legs to startle predators. Saiga antelope. Saiga titarica. The saiga antelope. A steppe wanderer with a swollen, flexible nose that filters dust in summer and warms freezing air during winter migrations. Vampire squid. Vampirotuthis infernalis. The vampire squid. a deep-sea survivor that glows with bioluminescent lights while drifting through oxygen-poor waters lethal to most marine life. Mata-mata turtle, Chelis fimbriata. The mata-mata turtle, a leaf-shaped ambush predator that disappears among river debris before vacuuming fish into its cavernous mouth. Dumbo octopus, Grimpeteuthis. The Dumbo octopus, a gentle deep-sea drifter that flaps ear-like fins to glide silently across the abyss thousands of meters below sunlight. Naked mole rat, Heterocephalus glaber. The naked mole rat, a nearly hairless subterranean mammal that lives in eusocial colonies and can survive extraordinary low-oxygen underground environments. Thorny devil, Moloch horridus. The thorny devil, a desert reptile covered in spikes that channels morning dew along microscopic grooves directly toward its waiting mouth. Harpy eagle, Harpia harpygia. The harpy eagle, a rainforest giant with massive talons strong enough to seize monkeys from branches with devastating crushing force. Giant isopod, Bathynomus giganteus. The giant isopod, an armored deep-sea scavenger resembling a colossal pill bug that can survive years between rare meals. Red-lipped batfish, Octocephalus darwini. The red-lipped batfish, a strange seafloor walker that uses modified fins as legs while its vivid crimson lips stand out in dim ocean light. Hammerhead bat, Hypsignathus monstrosus. The hammerhead bat, a bizarre flying mammal with an elongated face shaped by vocal chambers that produce thunderous mating calls. Long-wattled umbrella bird, Cephalopterus penduliger. The umbrella bird, a jet-black forest bird crowned with a crest and dangling throat wattle that inflates during deep booming courtship displays. Pistol shrimp, Alphiidae. The pistol shrimp, a tiny crustacean whose snapping claw fires collapsing bubbles that stun prey with explosive bursts of sound and heat. Yeti crab, Kiwa hirsuta. The yeti crab, a hydrothermal vent dweller with hairy claws that cultivate bacteria, providing nourishment in the toxic darkness of the ocean floor. Satanic leaf-tailed gecko, Uroplatus fantasticus. The leaf-tailed gecko, a master of disguise whose jagged body edges mimic decaying leaves so perfectly predators overlook it entirely. Platypus, Ornithorhynchus anatinus. The platypus, an egg-laying mammal with a duck-like bill that senses faint electrical signals from hidden prey beneath muddy riverbeds. Comb jelly, Ctenophora. The comb jelly, a transparent drifter that refracts rainbow light across rows of beating cilia, glowing like a living prism in darkness. Babirusa, Babirusa. The babirusa, a wild pig whose upward-growing tusks curve through its snout and can eventually pierce its own skull if unchecked. Fossa, Cryptoproctopherox. The fossa, Madagascar's elusive predator with retractable claws and flexible ankles, allowing it to descend trees headfirst like a feline acrobat. Rhinoceros beetle, Dynastini. The rhinoceros beetle, an armored insect with massive horns used in dramatic battles where rivals wrestle for control of feeding sites. Dragonfish, Stomiidae. The dragonfish, a deep-sea hunter with needle teeth and glowing lures that illuminate prey invisible to most other ocean creatures. Kakapo, Strigops hebroptilus. The kakapo, a massive flightless parrot that climbs trees at night and inflates a chest sac to broadcast resonant mating calls across valleys. Mexican alligator lizard, Abronia graminea. The Mexican alligator lizard, a brilliant emerald reptile that spends its life among cloud forest branches gripping bark with curved claws. Immortal jellyfish, Turritopsis dornii. The immortal jellyfish, a tiny marine animal capable of reverting its cells back to juvenile form, potentially repeating its life cycle indefinitely. Malayan colugo, Galeopterus variegatus, the colugo, a nocturnal glider with an enormous skin membrane stretching from neck to tail, allowing silent flights between distant trees. Tufted deer, Elaphidus cephalophus, the tufted deer, a shy forest ungulate whose small antlers hide beneath hair while sharp vampire-like tusks protrude from its upper jaw. Spiny bush viper, Atheris hispida, the spiny bush viper, a venomous snake coated in sharply keeled scales that create a rough, almost dragon-like texture along its body. Sunbittern, Eurypiga helios, the sunbittern, a tropical bird that suddenly spreads wings revealing dramatic eye-like patterns designed to frighten approaching predators. Bobbit worm, Eunice aphroditus, the bobbit worm, a buried marine ambush predator that erupts from sand with lightning speed to seize passing fish. Horseshoe crab, Limulus polyphemus, the horseshoe crab, an ancient survivor whose armored body and blue blood chemistry have remained largely unchanged for hundreds of millions of years. Ribbon eel, Rhinomarina quisita, the ribbon eel, a neon-colored reef dweller that sways continuously in ocean currents while opening and closing its narrow jaws to breathe. Japanese spider crab, Macrocheira camphori, the Japanese spider crab, the largest arthropod on Earth, stretching enormous legs across the seafloor like a slow-moving mechanical giant. Helmeted hornbill, Rhinoplax vigil, the helmeted hornbill, a rainforest bird with a massive solid casque used in dramatic mid-air collisions between rival males. Giant siphonophore, Praia dubia, the giant siphonophore, a colonial organism forming luminous chains longer than whales, each segment a specialized individual working as one creature. Tentacled snake, Erpeton tentaculatum, the tentacled snake, an aquatic ambush hunter using sensitive facial appendages to detect water movement before striking unsuspecting fish with uncanny precision.